Hey everyone, it's me. I wanted to talk about something that is rarely discussed. I don't really think I've ever seen anything like this. I mean, it's talked about, but it's not really talked about. So, I'm talking about what to do if you have been a victim of sexual trauma, sexual assault, domestic violence, anything along those lines, but primarily sexual assault. um, which was reported or unreported, and what to do when dealing with people in your future and possibly eventually someone very special, um, if you decide to talk about it and basically come clean or be honest with or discuss the situation with a future friend or intimate partner or someone you see a future with. When I was traumatized, I was 19 years old and I did not report for 30 years. But in the meantime, um, I did seek counseling, seek therapy, eventually reported my rape, all of that stuff. And then it came down to the fact that after your assault, you may end up having relationships. I think without therapy, they more than less are unhealthy relationships. And if you do receive therapy, in-depth therapy, and work through your trauma and everything associated with the trauma, which is guilt, which is a feeling of brokenness, which is a feeling of believing you're a piece of garbage. Why would anyone want me? Nice guys want nice girls, so on and so forth. I mean, the nice guy doesn't want anyone that's been damaged or um, has been brutalized or anything along those lines. So, what do you do when you feel the need to disclose that you have been a victim of sexual trauma, sexual assault, rape, molestation, etc.? I think what you have to do is you have to think of your frame of mind and the relationships you're choosing, um, according to where you are at in your life and regarding your value, what you believe your value is. I think for me personally, I was very careful about who I shared my trauma with, because if it was, I was not in a good place, I was not in a healthy, intimate setting, it was just either, a casual thing or whatever. I say if you're in just a casual situation or you're trapped in an abusive or unhealthy situation, I would never disclose my sexual trauma or rape to someone that I couldn't see a future with, that where I knew that person wasn't safe even during the time that we spent together, or they were just interested in me physically, so on and so forth. So I think when it comes to sharing your trauma with someone, tread lightly. Don't go into it and say, oh, I'm a victim of sexual assault and I was raped when I was XYZ or I was molested. This is the truth is that someone who is unhealthy, that you are not intimately close with regarding a mental, emotional, and spiritual connection, that person can utilize your trauma and re-traumatize you. So the last thing you need is to give them ammo when you're ready to break free and they want to control you. I had, been raped and I was married, and I don't remember if I shared that with my then husband, but he always would say, because I had two daughters who had different biological fathers, and my first daughter I had been in, I had slept with 2 guys within a month. So I didn't know her biological father when I got married to the third guy, who would always say, well, you have 3 kids or 2 kids with 3 guys because you don't even know who your first daughter's father is, and so on and so forth. And he'd say you're a piece of trash and you're used up and nobody's ever going to want you. But the truth is he was telling me these things because then he knew I wouldn't leave him if I believed him. And that's probably the aha moment, is when you believe someone that because of your sexual trauma, that you will never be good enough, nobody's going to want you, they're going to toss you out like trash. If you believe that, you basically are willing to stay with that person simply because they're willing to quote unquote love you despite your, despite all of that. So anyways, what is a good time to disclose your traumas with someone new? And I'll give you a couple of ideas and thoughts. My experiences in this situation is that I went through years of therapy and I'm still in therapy. And I had to go through in-depth inpatient treatment therapy. I stayed at the VA for a couple of months in 2015 and a couple of more months in 2018-ish, and I was inpatient. I wasn't locked up. I was just inpatient at the VA, and I went through cognitive processing therapy and a lot of other therapies in order to change my mindset and change my value and change what I believed about myself, was that I was worthy despite my trauma. And I had to let go of everything else in my mind that held me back from being in a healthy, positive relationship. So I know I earlier this year I met someone, and he looked at me and saw me as a human being and saw me as a person, saw me as an individual, valued my thoughts, valued my words, but just really enjoyed who I was prior to us even holding hands. I don't know, I just felt like I was at home in a safe place. And so he knew that I was a disabled veteran, and he didn't know really what my disability was. I said it was PTSD as a result of a trauma that that occurred while I served in the military. So he knew that much, but he didn't really press too far because he was respectful of my decision to share when I felt comfortable. And I felt safe around him. And just more to it. I don't know, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that. And I remember when I shared with him my trauma, we had been together for a little bit, and I said, well, I do want to share that while I served in the military, I was raped by a fellow soldier who I served with. And he didn't say anything. And he took it all in, and he said, I promise you that while you're with me, no one will ever hurt you. And that gives you a sense of comfort to know that you're with someone who protects you. And there's nothing like it. I'm just saying. So anyways, he didn't use my trauma against me. He promised to keep me safe. So therefore, I don't know. I mean, the truth is after sexual assault or trauma, you go through different stages of different values in your life, and without getting treatment, therapy, counseling, whatever, your value is so low, and you so often feel like a piece of garbage, and your mind is askewed, like it is not wired, you're not wired correctly. So a lot of times you're drawn to perpetrators, you're drawn to assailants, you're drawn to guys that are abusive and cruel and mean, and who will use your trauma to control you. So I think without getting therapy, it's just try not to share with too many people. But with therapy, I think you have to understand that the sooner you can get therapy and the sooner you can release yourself from the lies that your rapist has instilled in you, the sooner you take back control of your voice and your value and your worth, the sooner you will be able to, one day, it might not be tomorrow or in a year, mine took 30 years, you will be able to finally up your value and up the value of the people that you choose to spend time with and all of that fun stuff. So all I want to say is that I don't think your trauma should be shared with just anyone. I think you should share your trauma within a safe space, which is a group, with a trained therapist, with a trusted friend, with a trusted family member. But until you build your value up and you release yourself from what has happened, not you can't release yourself, but when you release the control the rapist has had over you, your whole entire being since since it took place, I just think, don't feel the need to share. It's not important what, I mean, it's the reason I shared with the person that I'm with now is because I wanted him to know why I react a certain way, or why I choose, just to have a very quiet life, why I'm uncomfortable in certain situations. I wanted him to know what my triggers were, so that if I felt triggered, he could see my discomfort and he would say, let's go. I can see that you're not feeling good right now. So that's all I know, is I hope this video helps someone. I'm not perfect. I hope my words help someone else in the process. And if anyone has ever any questions, please post below. I don't want questions regarding a relationship or anything like that. Please, don't ask me if I'm single. Don't ask me for my Facebook. Don't ask for any of that. I just, if this video helped you, that's great. If you're looking for a relationship, watch my previous video that says get real. Just go find someone out person that's real. Anyways, I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.